My name is Commander Elias Kerr, Captain of the Aegis Dawn. We are an exploratory vessel stationed on the edge of the Eltanen sector, a region of deep space that humanity only recently charted. We were sent to investigate a long-dead system known as Typhon 47, a sunless cluster with 5 cold, lifeless planets, and 1 anomaly. Our mission was routine at first: data scans, mineral assessments, and signs of past life or technology. But on the second moon of the 3rd planet, we picked up a faint, rhythmic signal. It was old. Really old. A repeating distress call, encoded in a format predating the Earth Federation itself. Against protocol, we followed it. That's when we saw it, a massive structure drifting in orbit. It was shaped like a twisted arrowhead, blackened by centuries of cosmic radiation. It was enormous, over 3 kilometers long, and partially embedded with asteroid fragments, like it had been hiding, or forgotten. We didn't find it. It wanted to be found. Day 1, docking with the dead. The outer hull was covered in pitted metal plates, etched with unfamiliar symbols, worn, but clearly artificial. Its design didn't match any known human or alien architecture. The ship had no visible power source, no heat emissions, no defense systems active. It was like a tomb. We docked cautiously. My crew, Lieutenant Harris, Dr. Rena Voss, Engineer Delgado, and a handful of others, entered through a breach in the lower hull. The interior was pitch black, coated in some kind of dust or organic ash. It clung to our suits, even resisted our lights. The halls were narrow and curved, built in impossible geometry that bent the eye. We recorded everything. It felt like walking into the lungs of something that had once breathed. Then we found the chamber. It was circular, domed, and filled with rows of what we thought were cryopods. Over 100. Some shattered, some sealed shut. Others had long since decomposed into bones and dust. But there was one, just one, that still hummed with power. And then it opened. Day 2, the man who wasn't human. Inside the functioning pod was a figure, tall, emaciated, but alive. Its eyes fluttered open, and for a moment, I thought we were hallucinating. It looked human. It spoke English. "My name is Karis Valen," it whispered. "Where am I?" We brought him aboard the Aegis Dawn. His vitals were weak but stabilizing. Dr. Voss was fascinated. His DNA matched human genome by 98.6%, but something about his physiology was off. Regeneration rates, brainwave patterns, bone density, all enhanced. Valen claimed to be the commander of the ship, called Erebos. It was launched during what he called the First Expansion, a time none of us knew existed. 7 centuries ago, according to him, humanity had already left Earth. They had gone far beyond anything in our history books. Then something happened. Erebos was cursed, he said. It slept to keep the evil in. We thought he was delusional. We were wrong. Day 3, the ship wakes. The moment Valen opened his eyes fully, Erebos responded. Lights flickered across its hull. The dust we disturbed began to rise on its own, like it remembered gravity. The signal we had first received, long dead, turned into a pulse, deep and resonant, like a heartbeat. Back on our ship, strange malfunctions began. Lights dimmed for no reason. Logs erased themselves. One crew member, Private Kovsky, walked into the airlock and opened it. No hesitation. No warning. His last words were, "It's calling." That night, we lost contact with Engineer Delgado. He had returned to the Erebos without authorization. We followed his signal to a maintenance corridor on the lower decks. We found his helmet. Inside it, his skin was gone, peeled like bark from a tree. Day 4, Karis's truth. Valen began to recover rapidly. Too rapidly. He walked again. Ate nothing. Slept with his eyes open. He asked to return to Erebos. We refused. That's when he said it. This isn't your discovery. You're its next victims. We interrogated him. Harris nearly shot him when he refused to answer. Eventually, Valen explained what Erebos really was. It was a prison, he said. Built not by humans, but by those who came before. We took it, tried to use it as a warship. We didn't understand what it held, and it began to understand us. According to him, Erebos contains a living intelligence. Not artificial. Not alien. Something older. Something that feeds on thoughts, dreams, fear. A parasite of the mind. When the original crew tried to shut it down, it retaliated. It made them forget themselves. Made them love it. Made them open the door. Only Valen survived. He sealed the core and put himself in stasis to stop it from spreading. And now we had woken it. Day 5, no way out. After what Karis Valen told us, I ordered an immediate retreat. We would sever the docking bridge and leave Erebos behind. But it was too late. Our engines wouldn't respond. Manual overrides failed. Power readings showed everything was normal, but the Aegis Dawn felt cold, like the ship itself was paralyzed. Then came the sound, metal groaning like it was alive. From the viewing bay, we watched in horror as the docking clamps retracted on their own, and Erebos latched onto us. We weren't docked anymore. We were merged. Day 6, the dream virus. We began experiencing the same dream. Each crew member, different variations, but the same location, a long corridor filled with whispering static. At the end stood a black monolith. As we got closer in the dream, our bodies began to dissolve, and we could hear our own thoughts being rewritten. One crewman, Petty Officer Lang, woke up screaming. He gouged out his own ears with a screwdriver. "There's too many voices," he cried. "They're not mine anymore." We sedated him, but his brain scans showed increased synaptic activity beyond human levels, as if someone, or something, was inside him. That's when Dr. Voss called me to Med Bay. She had isolated a neural signature in the crew's brainwaves. An additional pattern. It was transmitting from Erebos. Day 7, into the core. We had no choice. To regain control of the Aegis Dawn, we had to find the source of the signal and sever the connection. A team of 5, including myself, re-entered Erebos, this time heading deeper, toward the central chamber Karis had warned us about. As we descended, the walls seemed to shift. We mapped the interior, but every return trip showed different paths. The ship was reconfiguring itself. We weren't walking through corridors. We were being drawn. Eventually, we reached a chamber unlike anything we'd seen before, organic, pulsating with dull red light. In the center was a pulsating mass, like a heart, wrapped in cables and ancient tech. Floating above it, motionless, was Delgado. His body hung midair, twisted unnaturally. His face was calm. When I reached for him, his eyes opened. "Commander," he said with my voice. Day 8, the entity. We fled, but the damage was done. The entity had seen us. Karis Valen found us back aboard the Aegis Dawn. He was bleeding from the nose, his eyes blackened with burst veins. "You brought it back to consciousness," he whispered. "I warned you." We demanded answers. Real ones. Karis told us the entity was called NYRRH, or the Hunger Between Stars. It wasn't a god. It wasn't even intelligent in the way we understood. It was a sentient frequency, a living idea, buried in the ship's core. It couldn't move on its own. It couldn't think like us. So it used us to build its body. 7 centuries ago, the original crew found it encoded in a signal buried in the void. They downloaded it. It infected the software. Then the minds. Then the ship. They never escaped. Not truly. They became part of it. Now we were too. Day 9, the first change. Crew members began changing. Ensign relocked herself in her cabin. When we forced the door open, she was writing in blood. Circular symbols from Erebos were carved into the walls. She had no memory of doing it. Lieutenant Harris began to speak in languages no one recognized. Later analysis matched them to lost scripts from Earth's prehistory: Sumerian, Indus script, Rongorongo. No one should have known those. The ship's AI, Nora, began to malfunction. Her voice now echoed with a second, distorted tone underneath. Her interface glitched, showing alien constellations. Erebos was inside our systems now. It was building something. Day 10, revelation in the logs. Dr. Voss made a breakthrough using recovered logs from Erebos. The original mission, 700 years ago, was funded by a faction that believed in using non-human relics to push technological evolution. They found a fragment of NYRRH embedded in deep space static, something buried beyond Pluto's old orbit. They fed it power. They gave it a voice. It promised knowledge, immortality, expansion. But it lied. It didn't want followers. It wanted vessels. Erebos wasn't a prison. It was a womb. Day 11, the black signal. The signal returned, stronger than ever. A black pulse, now broadcasting beyond our sector. It wasn't calling to us. It was calling to others. We realized with horror what Karis had been trying to prevent. Erebos was never meant to be found because it wasn't finished. Now that we had reawakened it, it wanted to reproduce. The pulse was a beacon. The infection was the seed. And we were the soil. Day 12, splinters in the mind. Sleep became impossible. Those of us who could still think straight began to suffer from hallucinations, fractured versions of our own memories, replayed in reverse. I saw my childhood home, but burning from the inside. I saw my brother's face, but it was carved into the wall of Erebos, smiling. Dr. Voss ran tests on all of us. The results were terrifying. Synaptic drift. Neuronal mirroring. Our minds were syncing, slowly becoming a single network. A shared consciousness. But we weren't merging with each other. We were merging with it. The crew was being overwritten. One thought at a time. Day 13, the architect appears. In the deepest chamber of Erebos, beneath layers of fluid-filled corridors and half-living walls, we found it. The source. Not a machine. Not a being. A throne. Floating, pulsating, formed from fused bone and steel. And sitting atop it was a figure of black stone, humanoid in shape, eyeless, but watching. Karis dropped to his knees. He began whispering in that same ancient tongue we'd seen scrawled on the walls. "It's the architect," he said. "The one who feeds." We tried to pull him away, but he screamed. "You don't understand. We're not real to it. We're only instructions." The architect didn't move. But we felt it enter us. Day 14, systems breached. The Aegis Dawn was no longer ours. Every screen pulsed with that circular sigil, the same one Ree had carved in blood. The crew no longer responded to orders. Most of them wandered the halls in silence, whispering fragments of code and history from Erebos. Lieutenant Harris, one of my oldest friends, stood in front of the comms station and removed her own eyes. She smiled as blood ran down her face. "I can see it now," she whispered. "It's beautiful." I had no choice. I locked down the bridge and activated manual failsafes. But they didn't work. Erebos had learned our protocols. It was the ship now. Day 15, escape attempt. Dr. Voss and I attempted to reach the drop shuttle. It was our last chance to get away and warn Earth. We fought through warped hallways, dodging infected crew who no longer spoke, just stared, eyes glowing faint red. When we reached the shuttle bay, we saw it. The shuttle had grown cables. Black tendrils of living metal connected it to Erebos' hull. It wasn't a ship anymore. It was part of the organism. Voss turned to me and said, "This is planetary-scale parasitism. Erebos was never meant to fly. It was meant to seed. Anywhere it landed, became more of it. We didn't escape. We were allowed to return." Day 16, the transmission. Karras came to us again. Or rather, what was left of him. His skin peeled in layers, revealing metallic veins. His voice echoed in multiples. He told us there was no way back. But there was a purpose. "You are witnesses," he said. "The infection must spread. But it must be understood. We need heralds." Voss tried to shoot him. The bullet dissolved in midair. He walked away, through a wall of light. Then the transmission began. A burst of data, unlike anything we'd seen. Symbols. Maps. Coordinates. It wasn't meant for us. It was a message to other ships, across sectors, across galaxies. Erebos had just sent out its seed. And Earth was on the list. Day 17, becoming. I'm not sure how much time has passed. The logs are corrupted. The clocks flicker between years and minutes. The crew is gone. Or maybe they've become something else. I still see them sometimes. In reflections. In flickering lights. Dr. Voss sleeps next to me, though she hasn't breathed in hours. Her eyes follow me wherever I go. I still think. Still remember who I was. But even that is fading. Erebos is in my blood now. In my dreams. In my language. I write this in the last corner of the Aegis Dawn that still listens to me. If you find this message, don't come. Don't try to help. Don't investigate. Just run. Epilogue, 200 years later. A mining vessel in the Helios belt picked up a faint distress signal, patterned, rhythmic, repeating the same phrase over and over. We found something in Typhon 47. It found us back. They traced it to a drifting vessel, long forgotten, silent. Designation, Aegis Dawn.